long past time.
Perpetuating lies and deception is the only thing that you seem to know.
Gaslighting.
And you thought that you'd be safe in your tower.
Propagandizing.
Insulated from the people below.
Lying.
But the truth has undermined your foundation by so many people now in the know.
It's coming around.
You thought that you'd see the day that you could just get away from the ones you betrayed who raised their voices to say
You won't be trusted anymore. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're situated on this great, big, beautiful blue globe floating for the void of Yah's creation. It's Tuesday. My gosh, the time is shooting by. It's the 24th of February, 2026. These are the WTF reports. I'm Dave vonKleist here, WTF, with the facts. And if those facts make you exclaim WTF, well, then so be it. It's about time. 2x4 of reality's got to be smacked upside the collective consciousness of America and the rest of the world, and it's a very slow and painful process, but it is indeed happening. Anyway, welcome to today's Tuesday edition, and as always, this broadcast is brought to you in part by the Wave Watch. If you haven't checked it out, I don't know what's the matter you. Frequency is everything. That's what Tesla told us. And Royal Raymond Rife went with that. He ran with it and discovered by using frequencies, you could help cells to proliferate and thrive. You could also use frequency to get rid of bad bugaboos like bacteria and viruses. And that's why there are Rife machines out there. Do a little research into Rife technology. And then check out the Wave Watch. You'll understand why Linda Banber, what a brilliant thing to do. She took that Rife technology and shrunk it down into a wristwatch. So you wear it and the sound goes into your wrist, your body being 80% or more of water, and it travels through your whole body and has some marvelous effects. And I'm not here to say it's going to treat or cure or do anything like that, but we do know that frequencies have been helping people a lot. So, hey, check out the Wave Watch, and if you decide to get one, use the promo code REDPILL100. You'll save $100. So visit our website, TheWTFReports.com, and the pop-up window will take you to an area where you can find out all about the Wave Watch. Okay, that said, yesterday's broadcast, I know that raised a lot of hairs. I mean, it made a lot of people's hair stand on end, and well, it should. Because we are dealing with some very, very evil, monstrous, beyond your wildest imagination, very evil people who are doing very disgusting, vile, evil things. And they're doing it to you, whether you know it or not. And if you didn't catch yesterday's broadcast, go to our website, TheWTFReports.com. The archive is there. And listen to yesterday's broadcast. That was the 23rd of February. And yeah, I'm talking about cannibalism. I'm talking about human DNA being found in the food supply. And it's not one, not two, but several different reports from mainstream network affiliate stations discussing that disgusting thing. And yes, we are finding out that, they're trying to normalize pedophilia. And from what I understand, not pedophilia, cannibalism. Well, pedophilia too. We'll get to that later in the broadcast. I've got too many irons in the fire. But following up with that particular issue about human DNA being found in the food supply and McDonald's and in Chick-fil-A and in hot dogs and God knows what other sources of processed foods that they're finding human DNA. Well, there was one particular clip, I've seen this in the past, but apparently there was a television show, a cooking show of all things, and I'll tell you what, I'm going to play this clip. This was, let me see, I'm trying to see what this woman's name was. She was testifying in a hearing, but I'm going to let you hear what she had to say, and then there's an audio clip from this TV show where the chef had three different, had a secret ingredient in the food that the people were tasting. And they had to choose of three. They had three choices. What was the secret ingredient? Anyway, I'm going to play this. Give a listen to this.
Cannibalism might seem kind of gruesome, and kind of is. I'm going to give you a little background of what got me to this position to run this bill. Back in 2019, I heard that Washington State was starting to do human composting, and that disturbed me. I wanted to address this because what I didn't want to see is bags of compost with human bone fragments. I want to stop it getting into the human food supply. I was on a plane this summer, watched a video of some food show, and the three contestants tasted the food and they had to guess what was in it. It was some kind of a sausage, and one of the options they told these people that was in the food was human flesh.
Can you tell us the three secret ingredients that might be found in this amazing sausage that you made for us
Listen
today?
to this.
The three secret ingredients that might be found in the sausage are fish liver, human flesh, or shark.
Fish liver, human flesh, or shark. That's one of those is the secret ingredient in this sausage. Listen to these contestants.
Are those really the three ingredients?
Yeah, fish liver, human flesh, or shark.
Is this...
Is that problem?
Is that...
And there's a stigma surrounding this.
Okay, yeah, the producer just said, yeah, legal cleared it. Go ahead. Oh, my gosh. You should see the look on the contestant's face. They say, are you serious? Let's listen on.
All right, please. All right. Yo. Thank you, Keith. Thank you very much. All right, Joe. Fish liver, shark,
Or human flesh.
God help you, it better be shark.
All right, 2, what do you think it's going to be?
Shark too.
Shark?
The liver is like too obvious, and I don't think it's human flesh, so I think it's shark.
So all three contestants say, no, it's got to be shark. Okay, now listen.
Chef Keith, can you tell us what is the secret ingredient in this dish?
Yes, I'm afraid you're both wrong. It is human flesh.
No.
They're trying to normalize this.
That's not okay. That's not all right.
You know,
The way our society's going and the direction we're going, this is going to be normalized. There's only one state in the union that it is illegal, cannibalism is illegal, and that is Idaho.
Wait, I'm gobsmacked. There's only one state in the union where cannibalism is illegal. Let that settle in. The state is Idaho. Wow. A lot of folks might want to move to Idaho. I don't know. Oh, by the way, Idaho just passed passed a law saying, capital punishment for pedophiles. I don't know, maybe Idaho's ahead of the curve on this one. But, I mean, that is just, I don't know. How do you respond to that? And again, that was from a television show, a cooking show of 2019. Yeah, 7 years ago. I wonder how this has progressed since then. You know, it's really interesting. Mel Gibson, he made a very interesting statement. And, of course, people are talking about, the idea of good versus evil. A lot of folks are talking about a spiritual war, and I'm totally on board with that. There's no doubt that we are dealing with a war of the spirit in this world right now. I mean, that last audio clip, if that's not obvious enough. But anyway, here's something that Mel Gibson said, but there was one little statement that he made that made me go, Listen to this.
Why are the big realms of good and evil, and they exist? They're as real as we are. Why are these realms slugging it out for the souls, the hearts and souls of mankind? Why are we the meat in that sandwich?
The what? The meat in that sandwich? I don't know. I don't know if that meant anything, but it's kind of intriguing. I'll let him continue.
Mm-hmm. Little old us, flawed us, imperfect us. Why? Why is that about us? And I'm trying to answer that question. I don't know if I can. I've attempted, and maybe with God's help and with image and with sound and music, we can deliver on some answers to some of those massive questions.
With sound and music, frequencies.
These existential questions.
Yeah, existential question. Yeah, I find that was rather curious. Yeah, oh gosh. Are we the meat in that sandwich? Oh, my goodness. Anyway, okay, I just wanted to follow up with that. And again, if you didn't hear yesterday's broadcast, go back to the archive. Go to our website, TheWTFReports.com, and give it a listen. And I'm sorry, it will shock a lot of you. And we need to be shocked. We really do. You know, a lot of folks are saying, trust the plan, the Q posts and all this. And a lot of folks are saying, wait a second, okay, let's get this show on the road. You're watching a movie. Yeah. Okay, well, let's get to the punchline. But the thing is that it has to be slow rolled. And I got to be honest with you, folks. And I'm sure your regular listeners out there know that when you go out into your society, your neighborhood, and you interact with people, whether they be in the workplace or at home in your family or in your social circles, a lot of folks, they're now just starting to talk about this stuff. 10 years ago, you say Pizzagate, and they'd all go, conspiracy theory. Yeah, well, conspiracy theories are batting... Conspiracy theorists are batting 1,000 these days. And now people are just now starting to catch up. They're just starting to catch on. And it is slow. It's painfully slow. You regular listeners know that I've been at this for decades, trying to wake people up. Ever since the early 90s. When doing the Power Hour and producing, 4 documentaries that the Power Hour produced, and then I had 3 albums of politically incorrect, in your face, you lying son of a government music. And, of course, then it was the Power Hour radio show broadcasting worldwide on AM, FM, satellite, international shortwave, XM. Yeah, okay. But, folks like us, the word frustration just doesn't do it for me. We've been screaming about this crap for years and years and years. Well, why is it that people aren't catching on? Why is it that people are so docile? Why is it taking so doggone long to get this information out? Well, I want to share with you a couple of revelations, shall we say. And this was posted on X, but I'm quite familiar with this material. And this is, I'm reading from a document that's dated the 24th of April, 1952. And it has to do with chemtrails. That's the heading. Chemtrails. It's a special research paper for the Project Artichoke. You may have heard that. If you haven't, do some research. Anyway, I read. It's a paragraph here. And it says here, and again, I'm reading for this document from 1952. And it says, it is believed that specific research should be undertaken to develop new chemicals or drugs or to improve the known elements for use in the artichoke work. A study should be made to determine what drugs are best suited for direct use on subjects along the lines of amytal and pentothal, and which drugs are best for indirect or long-range approach to subjects. This second type of drug should be one that could be administered over a considerable period of time, possibly being placed in food or water, and would either have an agitating effect, producing anxiety, nervousness, tension, etc., or a depressing effect, creating a feeling of despondency, hopelessness, lethargy, etc. This study should include chemicals or drugs that can effectively be concealed in common items such as food, water, Coca-Cola, beer, liquor, cigarettes, etc. This type of drug should also be capable of use in standard medical treatments such as vaccinations, shots, etc. Let that settle in. Because now people are starting to report that there are all kinds of neuropsychiatric problems that are just exploding with people who had the hokey-pokey thingy-dingy. Yeah. Peer-reviewed studies are now finding that mRNA pokes are linked to 86 serious neuropsychiatric disorders. Homicidal ideation is up 25 times. Suicidal thoughts are up 150 times. Schizophrenia is up 315 times. Brain clots, 3,000 times. Depression, 530 times. Violent behavior, 80 times. Cognitive decline, 150 times. And delusions, 50 times. Let those stats sink in.
Oh, they would never do that. That's a conspiracy theory.
Raise your hand and slap yourself with it. I'm sick and tired of people saying,
tinfoil hat, conspiracy theory, you're a wacko, you hate your government.
My God. Well, see, this is why they're slow rolling all this information out. They have to do it very, very, very slowly. But getting back to this issue about the drugs and stuff that they're putting in our food, again, okay, no, I'm going to pause that. Okay, getting back into that issue, again, I refer to this document that was handed to us back in, I guess it was 2003 or 2004, when Joyce and I were traveling around the country trying to help the veterans. And yeah, a lot of times vets would come up and hand us plain manila envelopes with some very interesting documentation in them. One of these documents I hold in my hand, and you can find it online. And I've referred to this numerous times. I suggest you bookmark it and keep it for reference. This document is entitled, The Revolution in Military Affairs and Conflict Short of War. It was written by Stephen Metz and James Kivett in July 25, 1994. Now, in regard to what you just heard about putting stuff in our in our food and in our water and in the atmosphere with the chemtrails, I mean, we know now that the chemtrails have got aluminum and barium and smart dust and morgellons and lithium, all kinds of stuff in there. And of course, that would never affect the general population, would it? Would it? Huh? All right, well, I'm referring again to this document from 1994, and on page 14, and again, you can look this up, do a search for The Revolution in Military Affairs and Conflict Short of War. You can pull up a PDF and print it out, which is exactly what I got here in my hand. I did have the original document, but anyway, I printed out an extra copy here. And on page 11, I share with you, it says here, and this is a scenario. This is how you could create a revolution without firing a shot. How do you do that? Well, there's a lot of different psyops that they can do against the population. Of course, you couple that with putting crap in the food and the water and all that stuff, and this is what this paragraph says. I quote, naturally, all food supplies contained a super long-lasting sedative. This calmed local passions and led to an immediate decline in anti-regime activity. Where there were no direct U.S. relief efforts, sedatives were dispersed using cruise missiles. In areas thought to have high areas of insurgent activity, the dosage was increased. Unquote. So here they're talking about dispersing these chemicals and drugs in cruise missiles. Well, we know now, and of course, this document is, 32 years old now? Yeah, 1994? Yeah, my math is right. 32 years ago they put this in there. And of course, they don't have to use cruise missiles. Now, they've got all kinds of planes crisscrossing your neighborhood. Look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's a chemtrail. Yeah. I don't get it. People just don't listen, and like I said, I tried numerous times and in numerous ways to try to alert the people, and I did so. This is a song that I wrote, it was 26 years ago, 25 years ago, something like that. And I hate to say, I've said it numerous times, there's no joy in I told you so for either party. Give this a listen. Told you so.
Another day, a cloudless sky. It only lasts till the planes fly by. The trail they leave is cloudy white. They do the same in the dead of night. A sticky, filmy, web-like strand is sometimes left behind. It gently falls on unsuspecting people till they find. It falls upon the farmers' fields. It lights upon their skin. Aluminum and silicon nanomicrobes soon get in. Yes, it's another day. It's a cloudless sky. It only lasts till the planes fly by. They're not alive. They're not machine. They're nothing like this world has ever seen. They replicate. You don't know they're there till your skin erupts with an oily hair. And those with blatant symptoms, after paying doctor's fees, now have a diagnosis. It's an emerging new disease. They call it now Morgellons, and they don't know what to do. Are nanomicrobes in your town? Are they affecting you? Yes, it's another day. It's a cloudless sky, but it only lasts until the planes fly by. Blatant symptoms, after paying doctor's fees, now have a diagnosis. It's an emerging new disease. They call it now Morgellons, and they don't know what to do. Are nanomicrobes in your town? Are they affecting you? Yes, it's another day. It's a cloudless sky, but it only lasts until the planes fly by. As time goes by, your body aches. You break a sweat, and you get the shakes. The doctors say it's the way you feel. It's in your head. No, it isn't real. And those not understanding slowly turn the other way, dismissing those who suffer and ignoring what they say. And those with condescension will continue not to care. until they look upon their arm and find an oily hair. Yes, it's another day. It's a cloudless sky, but it only lasts until the planes fly by. Yes, it only lasts until the planes fly by.
There's no joy, and I told you so, for either party. I'll be right back.
Get More Tank will save you money every month on gas. Get More Tank is a tablet with active ingredients that adds big mileage to every tank. Made in America, the Get More Tank formula is used by trucking companies and heavy industry. Now the Get More Tank formula is available to you. Get More Tank works in any gas or diesel engine, cleans your engine, lowers emissions, and you'll feel improved engine performance every time you step on the gas. Get More Tank works for cars, trucks, boats, motorcycles, four-wheelers, mowers, and blowers. Hey, if you got an engine, then Get More Tank. Contractors, electricians, plumbers, painters, and lawn service companies, Get More Tank will save you money and extend the life of your engines. If you're an owner-operator running your big rig around the town or across the country, Get More Tank will save you money too. If you're a farmer, all of your equipment can use Get More Tank. A 5-pack on sale at GetMoreTank.com for just $22.22 plus shipping. Use the promo code RedPill101 and get 10% off. Save your money, save your engine, save the earth at GetMoreTank.com. Get More Tank is EPA registered, doesn't void warranties, results vary.
And you can get More Tank by visiting our website. I ask that you do just that. Go to the WTFReports.com. Click on the sponsors page. It'll take you down to a window that says Get More Tank. And when you click on that, you can read all the specifications and details about how and why this fuel catalyst works. And yes, it does. Your engine will run smoother. It'll run cleaner. It'll give you more power. And the kicker is that after a couple tanks, your engine adjusts, and now you get more mileage, anywhere between 15 and 20% better mileage, depending upon your make, model, and year of vehicle and your driving habits. So if you do the math, yeah, you get 20. If you get 20% better mileage, that means with one purchase, you get 5 tablets. Do the math. That means the 5th tank is free. Let that settle in. This is a no-brainer, folks. If you're not using Get More Tank, you're missing the boat. So please, check us out. Check out the WTFReports.com. Click on the sponsors page and Get More Tank. You'll be glad that you did. All right, it's 34 minutes past the hour, whatever hour you're sitting in. And, I'm going to open up the phone lines if you have something that you'd like to contribute. I'd like to stay on topic. I'd like to get your feedback on some of this stuff that we've been talking about the past couple of days. The phone number here is 215-867-8255. Again, 215-867-8255, and let's try to stay on topic, okay? And with that, I'm going to change the topic. Throw you a curveball. Okay, I'm going to take you back. When I was a kid, first of all, my dad was Air Force. And, I bounced around a lot when I was a kid. And my parents split up when I was very young, so I bounced around between my mom and my dad. And as a result, in 12 years of grade school, I went to 16 different schools, ranging from New York City to Long Island to Texas to Florida and to Anchorage, Alaska, believe it or not. And when my dad was stationed at Elmendorf Air Force Base up in Anchorage, Alaska, I was in 10th grade, I believe, at that time. And again, I was an Air Force brat. My dad was a pilot. Yeah. They say that of all the members of the Air Force, only 1 out of 500 are actually pilots. Well, my dad was one of the 500. Not only that, but he was Top Gun. He was a trainer pilot, a test pilot, a fighter pilot. And being in that prestigious position, and being the son of a prestigious Top Gun airman, okay, I was very much aware of all the different planes. I mean, Dad was flying the T-33s, the T-38s, the F-104s, and I also knew all the other planes that were in and out of Elmendorf Air Force Base, which, by the way, is right next door to Richardson Army Base, Fort Richardson. And anyway, one afternoon I was, or evening rather, I was on my bike and I was on my way home. And I looked up there. You've got beautiful skies at night. You could see so many stars. I mean, there's not a whole lot of atmospheric pollution and stuff like that. But anyway, I'm riding home on my bike, and there's the mountains over there, and about 10 miles away. And something shot down. I thought at first it was a shooting star. I've seen those before. Usually those go across the sky, but this thing came straight down and stopped. And I'm looking at, what is that? And the thing was, where it stopped, I could see the mountains behind it. So this wasn't like up in the sky. This was in my general locale. I saw the mountains behind it. Anyway, this thing goes and stops. And then it goes to the left and stops. I'm looking at this and saying, what the? And then it goes to the right and stops. Whoa, what the hell? And it goes back to its original stopping point. And I'm like, and then it goes, and it's gone. I got to tell you, every hair on my body stood on end. I was, oh my God. And I pedaled like my life depended. I got all the way home. I burst in the door. Hey, Dad, I just saw this thing, and it came down, and it whoa, slow down, Dave. But Dad, I saw this thing, and it came down, and it stopped, and it was like, and it went over this way, and then he realized what I was telling him. He reached out, he grabbed my shirt in my chest, and he pulled me into his face, and Dad, I saw that, and he says, you didn't see it. But Dad, I swear to God, I saw it. Listen to me. You did not see that. It did not happen. Dad, I promise you I'm not lying. I swear to God I'm not lying. Listen to me. You're not to discuss this. You did not see this. I don't ever want to hear you bring this up again. And if I find out that you've done, I will ground you forever. But Dad, I'm not lying. Do you understand me? But Dad, do you? Yes, sir. Anyway. He struck the fear of God into me. He told me never, ever, ever to discuss this again. Anyway, that was a long time ago. And about 20 years later, by now he was well into retirement, aged, and I went to a visit, and I said, hey, Dad, you remember that time I came bursting in the door and I told you about that thing that dropped down out of the, and he says, yeah, I remember that, Dave. I said, I know I saw something. And he said, I know you did too, but I couldn't have you running around the base talking about that. I mean, my gosh, the son of one of their pilots talking about UFOs. I couldn't have you do that. I mean, we used to see them all the time, he said. We used to call them bogeys or Foo Fighters or Santa Claus. We had a bunch of different nicknames. We didn't know what the heck they were either, but we couldn't admit that they existed because we would have no defense against something like that. So basically, he was giving me confirmation that I had seen something. So the thing is that I've had this curiosity thing. And, oh, by the way, and since that time, I mean, again, I was in high school at the time. Since that time, I've seen a total of five anomalies, shall we say. And some of them were quite profound. But the point is that, some folks want to say, oh, yes, those UFOs, the extraterrestrials, they're demons. And they may well be. I don't know. And for all I know, maybe what I saw was some sort of terrestrial technology. Maybe some back-engineered technology from the UFOs that were downed, during the 30s and 40s. I don't know. All I know is this thing came down. I mean, it's not like it came up from the base or something or came from the right or from the left. This thing dropped straight out of the sky. So, and then when it left, it went straight back up into the sky. So I don't know what I saw. Was it back-engineered technology? Could be. Was it extraterrestrial technology? I don't know. Could be. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because it's kind of curious that Barack Obama, about a week ago in an interview, was asked about the UFO issue. And he said, yeah, we know they're real. And now we're hearing that President Trump may be disclosing some stuff about extraterrestrials or about technology. I don't know. Maybe they're setting the table for Operation Bluebeam. I don't know. But I do know in the very pit of my soul that there is stuff out there. And it is not conventional technology, that anything that you or I know about. Now, of course, Dr. Stephen Greer has been talking about back-engineered technology. And by the way, if you haven't done so, I highly recommend that you go to the website Ingersolllockwood.com. Go check that website out. Now, I'm not going to get into a big, long explanation about it, but if you're out there and you're on your computer, I highly recommend that you go there and start poking around. And when you move your cursor over all the text, be very careful, because there are hidden links everywhere. You might come across a particular letter that turns into a pointy finger. Yeah, that's a link, a hyperlink. You might come across a period or a hyphen or an exclamation point or even a blank space. There are hidden links, hyperlinks, all throughout that document. And some of them bring you to government documentation. For example, there's one hyperlink that takes you to the 2022 Pentagon report on UAPs. And then there's another hyperlink that takes you to a website that traces the back engineering that was done back in the 30s and 40s by the Germans. And it also talks about, the bases that are supposedly hidden in Antarctica. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there. Now, you have to ask the question, wait a second, why would they have this stuff on this website? What is this website? Who is Ingersoll-Lockwood? Well, Ingersoll-Lockwood was a novelist who lived in the late 1800s, and he wrote several novels, 3 of which featured a character by the name of Baron Trump. And some of these stories had to do with time travel. And it's interesting because Ingersoll-Lockwood was also personal friends with Nikola Tesla, who was also doing research on time travel. Whoa, wait a second. Well, it's funny because when you go to that website, Ingersolllockwood.com, it's a recruitment website for the United States Space Force. Go figure. Say, oh, that's a bogus website. Oh, really? Well, when you click on the different links there, you can go and sign up. If this is a bogus website posing as the United States Space Force and having a page there where you could put in all your personal data, your name, your address, and stuff like that, if you want to sign up, if you want to get involved with the United States Space Force, it's a recruitment website. So if this was a bogus website, the government would have taken this down in a nanosecond. But the bottom line here is it hasn't been taken down. And like I said, there's all kinds of information here that'll make you cock your head to one side and go, eh? Yeah. So check it out, folks. Ingersolllockwood.com. And by the way, there are 3 L's there. Ingersoll with 2 L's and then Lockwood. And that's the 3rd L. Anyway, that said, you want to check that out because I do think that they're setting the table here. They got to have a lot of distractions. And there are so many distractions going on. Oh, shall we talk about Nancy Guthrie? That's all over. It's day 24 now. And there's also a report. I don't know if it's been confirmed. I saw it posted on X. I haven't had the time to research this, but they say that they may have found her body. And that's sad. But nonetheless, the media is focused in on Nancy Guthrie. The mainstream networks are just doing their thing, and that's why I have such reprehension and disdain for the mainstream networks. And that doesn't just include ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, CNN, Fox. No, it also includes Newsmax. It also includes OAN. They're just as guilty as gaslighting and propagandizing as any other. That's why I don't even bother with them anymore. I do look at them, yeah, no doubt. I want to see how they're spinning everything. I check out, NBC in the morning and CBS, and then I go over and check out, OAN. And there's also News Nation, and they do a good job. But I also get some of my news from some of the, non-domestic sources. Go to RT, Russia Today. There's a lot of good stuff there. And there's also Al Jazeera. So, if you want to get the news, and then there's also some news feeds. Oh, gosh, I've got Freedom's Phoenix and Lou Rockwell and the Liberty Daily and a couple of others that I try to grab. But there's just so much misinformation out there. It really is very difficult to sort through and make sense of all this. So the best that you can do is just use your common sense. Turn on the BS antenna. Use the smell test. So, but anyway, let me see. It's 46 minutes past the hour, 14 minutes before the top of the hour. We do have an open line. If you want to call in, you're welcome to do so. 215-867-8255. Now, over the past few weeks, I've been focusing in, of course, on the satanic worshiping that's going on, all the cults that have been popping up all over the country. And this has been going on for a long, long time, folks. And I have to tell you, and I've mentioned it numerous times, good friend of mine was Ted Gunderson, rest his soul. But, there was a news report back in 1985, believe it or not. And let me see, where is it here? I had it pulled up here, but then I got distracted. Oh, let me see. Where did it go? Where is it? I think it was Catherine Herridge. She was, big-time CBS reporter, and she's since gone independent. And as a matter of fact, she took a trip down to Gitmo not too long ago, and she was reporting about the expansion of the military base. And I wonder why they're expanding. But anyway, there was a, let me see, was Catherine Herridge? Where the heck is it? That's another story altogether. I'm scrolling through here. I've got so much stuff pulled up. Oh, here it is. Back in 1985, 2020, remember that TV show on ABC? They ran an entire segment on Satanism. Now, the reason this caught my eye is because, like I mentioned, I was friends with Ted Gunderson. He was bureau chief of the FBI for Houston, San Francisco, and Los Angeles, I believe. But he had 750 FBI agents under him. And I befriended Ted right after the Oklahoma City bombing. And over the years that followed, we spent a lot of time breaking bread, talking about stuff. And he had just retired right around that period of time when he was, like I said, he was bureau chief through the 70s and 80s. And I believe he retired in the mid-80s. And it's kind of funny because this broadcast, 2020, ran on ABC, and this was, again, in 1985. I'm not going to play the whole segment, but just to introduce you, they were just then scratching the surface about the satanic cults that were exploding all over the country. And again, we're going back to 1985, folks. You can only imagine what it's like now because it's run amok. It's gone unchecked because there's too many people out there that say,
oh, that's a conspiracy theory.
Well, again, slap yourself with it and then ponder this point for a moment. Think of all the children. Yeah, all the children that have suffered with all this stuff. We're here. It's all coming out now with the Epstein stuff, and it's absolutely disgusting. There are people posting, and they're absolute in tears when they find out that, yes, this is real. Yes, it's been going on for a long time. And for all of you folks out there that turn your head the other way, ignore it, and condemn people like myself and others who are trying to alert you to this stuff, and because of us being ignored, I want you to think about how many millions and millions and millions of children have suffered because we turned our back and would not listen. Silence is consent, and your silence makes you complicit. Anyway, let's go back to 1985. I'll play a little bit of this.
It's bizarre and hard to prove. Yet the tales that were told to us in interviews conducted across the country were later verified by authorities who say there are consistent telltale clues. And they provide a checklist of 6 satanic practices to look for. For example, being placed inside a coffin. It's an experience that many children are describing.
Well, the adults would dig up the caskets from the graveyards and all the members, including the children, were made to lay in the remains of whatever was in the casket.
Get in a casket with a decomposed body?
Right, and then the casket was closed, and they would be lowered into the ground while they were in the casket.
The author of a popular book on Satanism, Dr. Lawrence Pasder.
Children are involved in graveyards and crematoria, in funeral parlors, because one of the primary focuses of these people is death. Everything is attempted to be destroyed and killed in that child, and in society, everything of goodness. And death is a major preoccupation.
Another indicator, satanic paraphernalia. In every case, the children talk about precisely the same setting.
They described a satanic goat's head being on the wall over the table. They described a lot of candles. And they described people in black and white robes with hoods.
The hood, Mike, what's this for?
This is to create for whoever's practicing a magical atmosphere.
The colors mean anything?
Yeah, the red ones would be used for some types of sexual rituals, people who are doing sexual magic. This would be used for ordinary ceremonies and also for ceremonies where you'd be throwing a curse on somebody.
Another indicator, kidnapping. In almost every case, the children have talked about children who were snatched and later sacrificed.
They were taught to aid in the kidnapping of children. What they would do is the kids would go and play with the children and then tell them that they were either going to go to a party or that there was some toys or whatever, and get them so they weren't on the move, and then her father and other members would grab the kids.
Do you find missing children sometimes fall prey to these people?
I believe that they do. We can't prove that they do. But as a law enforcement officer, I question 2 million children missing in the United States, knowing that many of those are not runaways and are so young that they couldn't run away anyway.
Okay, that was Patricia Gallagher. She was a police investigator. I'm going to stop it right there. I mean, this goes on and on. You can find it. You do a search for 2020, 1985 Satanism, and you'll find it. So this stuff has been going on for decades and decades, and indeed, millennia. Now we have to say, wait a second, what is the source of all this? Who's been behind this? Where did it start? Well, again, I'm not kidding when I say millennia. We're talking thousands of years. And yes, it's obviously a belief system that is thriving in today's world. And the reason it's thriving is because for years and years and years and years, people turned and looked the other way and ignored it and said it was not true. It's too horrible. That's disgusting. And you should go to hell for even saying or even thinking something like that. Well, it was 10 years ago that the story about Pizzagate was breaking loose. Yeah. And Ben Swan, bless his heart, he was with the CBS affiliate in Atlanta, Georgia. He broke the story, and they summarily fired him. Okay, and everybody else was out there saying, "Oh, that would never happen." Now. And so they broke out all of their propagandists and not journalists, propagandists. And of course, the propagandists got out there and say, "This has been debunked. It doesn't work. No, there's no such thing as comet ping pong and basements with all kinds of nefarious things going on with children." Well, wouldn't you know, the guy who was debunking it got busted for pedophilia. Isn't that amazing? And yes, it's going on. A couple days ago, last week, I was playing an audio of somebody who was at the shipping yard in San Diego. Of course, it's a big port, and all these big ships with containers on them get unloaded, and the containers get all stacked up, and the dock workers are working around these containers. And as they pass by some of them, they hear screaming from inside the containers. Yes, they hear children in there screaming and crying. And a lot of the dock workers are quitting because they can't deal with it. Yeah, this is reality, folks. This is not conspiracy theory. And if you think it's conspiracy theory, well, again, this has been going on for years. As a matter of fact, there was a news item here. I'm going to play a piece of this. This was back in 1982. Los Angeles authorities opened a repossessed shipping container that contained 17,000 fetuses floating in bags of formaldehyde. And it wasn't just fetuses. No. There were bodies in there. Let me just play a piece of this.
Check did not clear the bank, and so we sent the truck out to pick up the container.
I rolled out there and took the box up and started pulling it up. And it was so heavy, it broke the winch. And we couldn't get it off the trailer, so we had to leave it on the trailer because it was too heavy. So I was asked by Nick to have a crew go down and unload the container at the other yard.
I got a radio call from Ron Gillette, the foreman. They said the men were throwing up and there was something really wrong.
One of them fell down and hit me right in front of my feet. And it was opened up, and there it was. And when I came to work the following day, I saw it myself. I couldn't believe it. And just little bitty babies, just all torn pieces. Their heads chopped off, arms, legs, really just, it makes you want to cry when you see something like that.
Starting at the very front of this container, it was just wall clear to the ceiling and clear to the sides, filled with them.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there. This is so macabre. This is so disgusting. And again, that was aired in 1982, folks. We're talking decades and decades ago. We have to somehow face the truth, to have to deal with this, folks, because the fate of humanity is in the balance. And meanwhile, we've got the horrendous crap that's going on over there in the Middle East. I don't even want to get started. I didn't even talk about the interview that Tucker Carlson had with Mike Huckabee. And Huckabee, oh my gosh, he made some statements that has the entire Middle East inflamed. And everything is bass-ackwards. Yeah. And by the way, if you hadn't noticed, the Olympics, the Winter Olympics wrapped up this past weekend. And, of course, missing from the competition was Russia. Yeah, because Russia, Putin, bad. Yeah, Ukraine war, he's killing all these people. And, yeah, we can't include Russia in there. Oh, but Israel was allowed to compete. And I found it interesting that on the opening ceremonies 2 weeks ago, that when the Israelis came out and they were waving their flag, the entire stadium booed. Well, they should. Matter of fact, there's an article here. It says Russia has been banned from all sporting and cultural competitions and has received 19 packages of sanctions. Israel has not received a single sanction and continues to participate in European competitions despite not being a European country. And then there's a graph here, and it shows the number of children who have been killed up to 2025. All right? And Russia, let me see here. I'm going to turn this down here. Russia, the children killed by Russian forces from 2020 to 25 were 669. The number of active Russian soldiers is 1.32 million, so the ratio of children per 1,000 soldiers is 0.51. 0.51. However, in Israel, number of children killed by Israel from 23 to 25 is 18,000. And that's number of active Israeli soldiers is 170,000. So children ratio per 1,000 soldiers is 105.8. All right. Well, yeah, but Russia's the bad guy, right? All right. Well, everything is all bass-ackwards, folks. It's not my fault. I didn't do it. Anyway, if you're enjoying the broadcast, I know the truth is a bitter pill, but I got to stand in the light. I won't hide in the darkness. And if you agree, and you're listening on BitChute or Rumble or YouTube or Facebook or whatever, click like, share, subscribe, and share it with your friends and your co-workers and your family, okay? And do some business with us. Help us keep the lights on. All right, that said, it's going to wrap us up for the Taco Tuesday version of the WTF Reports. I'll be back again tomorrow, God willing. So until then, God bless you all. Stay safe, stay free, and I'll see you tomorrow.